In today's Leeds news, Nuno to Leeds has legs. Charlie Cresswell January U-Turn. Sebastian Driussi turned Leeds down. Baron Cross speaks to Max Wober on Skubala. Adam Forshaw in line for a new deal. And Archie Gray's injury season. Hey folks, Jer here at The View on Friday the 17th of February with your Leeds news. I'm starting to get back into a more regular news cycle, thank God. The manager stuff is still out there, it's floating around and we will cover it today, but in general it's more kind of housekeeping stuff and more local Leeds kind of news from the club. So we'll start off with the manager stuff, and according to Ben Jacobs, rumours of Nuno Espirito Santo's move to Leeds United may actually have some legs. Jacob says that they are keen to hire Nuno over the likes of Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard. Basically what he said is there are legs in the Nuno Espirito Santo links. He said that I think that there is more worry about Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard. That's in relation to what they view as the firefighting skills to get Leeds out of danger, given that two of them don't have a huge amount of experience in relegation dogfights. Lampard does, but not successfully. Well, this season, I suppose you can look at it that way. So, according to Ben, keep an eye on this. I would give Ben an awful lot more credit than most journalists. Ben tends to be pretty much on the money most of the time. So, there could be something in this. Again, as I said yesterday on the American Leeds podcast and on the news, Nuno's one of those safe managers I don't have a huge issue with. I'm not overly excited about it. I'm not disappointed with it. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And if it's a stopgap or a short-term thing, fine. And if he's successful, great. If we get what he did for Wolves in the first couple of years, he was there out of him. Brilliant. Sometimes managers go off the boil at clubs, so we'll have to wait and see. Some information coming out about Charlie Cresswell's move during January. There was a lot of rumour during the January window that Charlie will be leaving Leeds, potentially on a permanent basis. And as the window went further on, it looked more and more likely that he was going to leave Leeds permanently. And Sunderland were a club that were mentioned pretty regularly. But according to Football League World, Creswell actually had agreed to sign a permanent deal with Coventry City. Creswell turned the deal down, though, after a while. Basically, he said that he did a deal agreed to join Coventry and a permanent move, but then decided to U-turn on the decision. Creswell sees himself as having a future at the Leeds club with the likes of Liam Cooper not getting any younger, and Leeds looking to bring younger talent through. Creswell sees himself as having a future there. Did say yesterday that he seems to be settling in finally at Millwall after half a season and starting to find his rhythm. 2 back-to-back 90-minute games for them as well will help him with that as well. There's a lot of players leaving the club, and we keep talking about this thing. No one's come out in support of Jesse Marsh since he left. No one's come out to thank him since he left. You have to ask yourself why. Click's been pretty outspoken, in Click's way against Jesse. But Charlie maybe decided, I'll be here longer than maybe you will. I'll see what happens and stick around. This did come from Football League World, so there's obviously there's a apparently or a pinch of salt with this as well. So just keep that in mind. Moving on then to targets that we had during January, and Sebastian Driussi, the striker from Austin FC, was linked pretty heavily with Leeds in the early part of the January transfer window when Leeds were looking at a striker. The striker had been at Zenit St. Petersburg before, so had got European experience and was doing incredibly well in the MLS. He opted to stay at Austin, and basically after signing a brand new deal, which appears to be what happens at Leeds now, we go after somebody, we don't get them, and they sign a new contract. It's a good negotiation play. But what he said after signing his contract was, as you know, there was a very important offer from a club in England, Leeds. But, well, in my head, I was always in Austin. So his head said Austin. I'd like to know what his heart said, though, if his head said Austin, because he never said that. But another player who decided not to come to Leeds and instead stay put and sign a contract at the club that he was at that time. So that's interesting. Moving on then, let's talk about Michael Skubala and Baron Cross at Leeds Live was talking to Max Wober and basically asking him what's changed since Skubala's come in. And the short version of this, basically, Max Wober has said that he brought in an element of calmness and clarity to what they were doing. He said that there was a lot of pressure from the media and from fans. And he said, you effed up when you didn't play well enough to keep your manager in a job or your coach in a job. So, that's a pretty honest assessment from Max. He also said that against Manchester United, Scoob's focused on the basics of the game. He said that he tried to play more compact in defence or out of the ball. And then with the ball, he said they'd look to have a bit more width and get Cree and Willie more in the game, exposing one-on-one situations when they could as well. So it worked pretty well. Can't argue with that. It did work pretty well, but let's see how it works against Everton with a low block at the weekend. That's going to be the interesting one. Moving on, we saw yesterday Luke Ayling signing a new extension to his contract, which we're delighted about. Adam Forshaw, according to Leeds Live, is next in line for a new deal. This one's slightly harder to understand. Forshaw's deal does run out at the end of the season. He has been struggling this season with a hip issue. Marsh described it as they had a procedure to clean up the area, a minor procedure, but he still isn't back, which has been a problem for Adam Forshaw for probably the last 3 seasons. He's 31 years of age now. He has 5 games to his name this season, 2 starts. I will be honest and say when Adam Forshaw is available, I think he's a great option for Leeds to have in the middle of the park. I think he uses the ball very cleverly. I think he keeps it simple. I think he helps recycle the game and keep Leeds in possession of the ball. He's good in a tackle as well. So there's benefits to having him there, but I just think after 2 seasons of barely kicking a ball for Leeds, giving the player a new contract at 31 years of age is a bit of a gamble as well. I know the money won't be huge. Forshaw's a good guy. I'm sure he's great around the dressing room. They're important. It's important to have these experienced players around, especially given how young the Leeds team is. So as long as the injuries can tidy up for Adam Forshaw, there's still a player there that can help Leeds along the way and help the younger players along the way as well. So Adam Forshaw on line for a new 1-year deal. And then to finish off talking about new players, let's talk about Archie Gray briefly. And basically, he'd been out for a lot of this season, struggling with an ankle injury. He had a toe problem at the start of the season and then an ankle injury. And the scan revealed there was some damage and swelling to the ankle. Now, it's all behind him now. He's back on the grass since last Thursday. But what they said was the latest issue was pretty much just due to the fact of his age and growing up. And speaking of Steven Gerrard, as we did earlier on, I remember when he was a youth player at Liverpool and breaking into the Liverpool team, he suffered a lot of injuries that were all put down to growing pains, just basically a 16, 17-year-old lad getting taller and bigger, so that can cause problems as well. So Archie back on the grass, back training, great to see. Positive news. Hopefully we'll see him in some Premier League games this season. It'd be nice. Let's get to a stage where we're safe and we can start playing these guys and giving them some more exposure. And that's pretty much going to be it for today, folks. Have a great weekend. No streams over the weekend. I'll be back on Monday with more Leeds news. If you like the channel, you can subscribe, or you can catch up on all the interview stuff that we've done over the weekend if you want more content as well. And I will see you back here live on Monday morning with some Leeds news. See you then. Have a great weekend. Bye.